few big CEOs that's come out and spoken out against what happened with Fannie and Freddie and government regulation. And as James says, you know, where does this money going?
That's a good question. Where is it going?
$2 billion is going to the Justice Department to do with it what it likes. $7 billion to federal and state agencies, and $4 billion to consumers. Now, David, are these consumers who were truly harmed? Are these people who were paying their mortgages and foreclosed on? That's very unclear. What I do know is that some very prominent attorney generals here who have political aspirations, the New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, California Attorney General Kamala Harris, Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan, they're all getting payouts too, and I'll bet you that's going to help their political careers.
Well, and Dan, the question is whether a lot of money goes to these groups like Acorn. We all remember Acorn, which of course doesn't exist anymore, but the people are still around, and they formed other organizations, and maybe they're going to get a piece of this pie.
Well, undoubtedly they will. I mean, one of the things that Morgan's being required to do is to take measures to alleviate what the settlement calls urban blight. And they're going to have a monitor who decides whether they're doing enough to alleviate urban blight, and if they don't, they'll have to give money to these groups. David, we're talking about making a bank an arm of the government, a vassal of the government. And though the banks are not sympathetic players for sure, we want them to function in the economy. They should be making loans. They should be doing the sort of things that they were created to do. And they're really pulling back because, as Eric Holder said, there are going to be more of these prosecutions. As a result, the economy remains flat. And that also means that all those poor people sitting out there in America without jobs and no prospects of being hired are not going to find an economy that creates jobs.
Is there a message here, James, to banks out there saying unless you do what we, the administration, wants, you're going to get hit just like J.P. Morgan did?
Yeah, I think that's the message. The message is that the war on business continues. And to try and answer your original question, where are these victims? They're very hard to find in the documents, but the $2 billion that Mary mentioned to the Justice Department, this is allegedly for J.P. Morgan harming itself by doing things that the Justice Department didn't like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's trying to make sense of this case is it's just beyond weird, and I think a negative signal for all of those reasons we've talked about for people who want the free economy to rebound.
Want the free economy to rebound. It's not just an attack on J.P. Morgan. It's an attack on capitalism broadly, but it's also an attack on bank shareholders. This money isn't coming out of the sky. This money is coming out of J.P. Morgan, and I'm telling you, many mutual funds across the country, so if you're saving money in your 401k, you've likely got J.P. Morgan in it, and as James said, these attacks are going to continue.
So the people who actually did what the government is saying was bad, Dan, aren't even there anymore. It is the shareholders of the bank that are paying the cost, not the people who did the bad things.
Yeah, well, as I think we've made clear, what is going on here is a transfer of capital out of the private sector through these banks and into the public sector, as Mary said, attorneys general and the Justice Department to distribute for other purposes. That's basically what it is.
More cash for the government. When we come back,